Hi, remember when we rolled out the long black strip and we looked at how long the earth was cooling and life came, and that this coming of life was a long time before humans came onto the earth? Well, today we're going to look at this in a different way. We're going to look at it like a clock, and this is called the Clock of Eras. This is our Clock of Eras, and it's shaped like a clock, and each one of these tick lines represents an hour. And there's a legend or key at the bottom that tells us what each color represents. And now we're going to put our own clock together using this control chart as a way to check our work and make sure we have it in the right spot. The first part of our clock represents about 2 hours and 4 minutes, and they call this the Hadean Eon. It was named from the Greek god Hades, the god of the underworld, and at this time our solar system was still gases and dust forming around our sun. There were no rocks dating from this time, only meteorites found on the earth. The next part of our clock is represented by this pinkish color, and it's the Arcane Eon. This is a name that means ancient. And at this time, the earth changed from a mass of flaming gas into a planet that had a thin crust. And this represents a long period of time without life. And one-celled life began during the end of this time. Next, we have the Proterozoic Eon. Wow, that's a large amount of time. This time means early life. The seas produced many tiny forms of life. Blue-green algae and early forms of multicellular life were plentiful during this time. So look how much of the clock has taken up before we even have much life on Earth. Next we have the Paleozoic Era. The Paleozoic means old life. Plants and animals learned to coexist for the first time, and the great oceans covered the earth. And this was about 58 minutes if the creation of our solar system and our earth and life on earth were counted in this way. Now we come to Mesozoic, the Mesozoic Era. And that's about 30 minutes is what it represents. And this name means middle life. Land was rising above the water. Plants and animals adapted to life on land, and life was soon abundant on land as well as in the water. This was the age of the giant reptiles and huge land plants. Next, we have the Cenozoic Era. And it's about 12 minutes. Cenozoic means recent life, and during this era, vast grasslands and flowering plants developed. This was also known as the Age of Mammals. The earliest humans evolved late in this era. Lastly, we have this small strip, this red line, which represents the Quaternary Period, which is only about 1 minute. And this name means fourth. It comes from a very old way of looking at geology. This is the latest of the periods and is in the Cenozoic Era. Human life has developed during this period, and this continues. You can check your work with your control chart to make sure it matches. And this is just another way to look at all of the Earth's preparation leading up to humans being on Earth.